Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Groove Builders, the show where we create together. I'm your hostess, Swordly Cone. I hope you're having a fantastic Thursday, and I have noticed that yesterday after uploading my stream that the microphone was not working properly. This happens, you know, I'm still very new to the whole live stream thing, and I'm going to do my best to, of course, keep these and always improve them and make them even better. As I do want to keep these as my full build videos because I think they're super useful for everyone out there. If you guys notice that the music is too loud or the audio is no bueno, do me a favor, just shoot me a comment there. I will gladly be able to fix any of that stuff as we go. I do have a little bit of a monitor here that shows me my levels, and even yesterday it looked like my levels were good, but I guess it was my default microphone that I was picking up and not my good microphone that you're hearing me from now. So anyway, getting back to that, let's discuss what we are building. We are building the Metal Time Elusive Nautilus, and we have gotten quite far. Now, yesterday, if you remember, we discussed some of the problems that a lot of people have been running into when they're building this model, and that actually comes to this little back piece right here. Now, if we look at the back, there's a little gear right here, and this gear sometimes loves to get caught on the different pieces inside. Also, there's a little eyelet right here, and I'm going to see if I can bring that up to you on the camera. That little eyelet right there has to be very straight. If it's not straight, we actually run into an issue where it won't be able to line up properly, and your whole model won't work correctly. Now, I've tested this yesterday on stream with you live, and if you have a problem with your model and it isn't functioning like you're seeing right now, then there is a issue with the alignment on the inside, and it's something you want to take care of. This will run really smoothly, and I'm not really kind of fully cranking it just yet, but that is something to know, something to keep in mind. All right. Now let's move on to the next bit of detail. Remember last night we left off with that little lock piece back here, and what I did was just make sure that it's not touching anything, and like you just saw, the function of the model is still very much working, which is awesome. So I'm going to put you down right there for right now, and I'm going to go back over here. As you can see on the screen, I went ahead and put the instructions there for you guys if you're following along with me at home. And what we're going to do is match up these two pieces. This is all just kind of outside detail at this point. The majority of the build when it comes to some of the more difficult pieces has already been here. Now, I went ahead earlier, and I'm going to take this and put it over here. I went ahead earlier and bent these down, and the reason why I did that was just to help with kind of keeping everything attached. But now that we're putting a little bit more detail on, we can go ahead and lift these tabs up, just like this. And that will allow us to put this little bit of detail on. Now before we actually put that detail on, we're going to attach the fin on here. Now one thing I always like to do, and you guys have probably seen me do this countless times, you have to forgive me, I don't know why I'm shaking so much. I'm not nervous, but apparently I'm just having a little bit of the shakes today. Maybe it's dehydration. I do have some water over here. Anyway, you know what? Let me go ahead and just grab some water right now, see if we can settle that shakiness. Okay. Excuse me, everybody. All right, now let's go ahead and grab this right here. In a few moments, if my shaking stops, you will know I was dehydrated. Now, let's see here. I'm going to go like this. Yip-a-doodles. Holy crow, I am a shaky man today. Maybe it is nerves. Alright, now these guys are bent down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bend these opposite of each other. I'm also trying to remember to shape this in the center of the camera here. As I was saying yesterday on my last stream, I'm so used to building off to the side of the camera to allow the instructions to be there. To build directly in the center is a weird experience. I've trained myself to do the opposite. Now, did I just do a silly goose? I don't think so. Yeah, I think we're good. Cool. Now I'm going to put a little bit of a bend in this with my thumb, just a little one, and I'm going to try to make it as equal as possible without having any kind of hot spot develop, or a little crease. That looks pretty good if you ask me. It's a nice little bend in that. Okay, let's go ahead and place this on now. And I'm going to make sure that I'm placing this in the right area as well. Yeah, that little tab goes there. Now, you might have to come in here and move the tabs just a little bit. That's why I like having my tweezers handy here, because I can kind of move the tabs where I need them to go. And this makes the piece go in a lot easier, a lot cleaner. There we go. I'm going to bend them back. Again, being very careful when we're doing this, not to accidentally bend any of the material out of place. These ones do get locked, so go ahead and just turn that down. There we go. And the last one is back here, and we're going to turn this one actually towards the rear, because the other ones are going towards the, well, this one here, they're opposite right now, which is good to lock this side, but down here, we're going to lock it down towards the rear. There we go. Put a little bit more pressure on that just to make sure that that tab is really in there. I'm actually going to use my tweezers again just because of where it is. If you go right to the tip of the tabs, it actually makes it a lot easier to be able to put things in their place. Okay, cool. There's that little bit of detail. And now we need to move on to the next bit here, which is actually putting on some of our brass detail. Forgive me as I do the forbidden page turn. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put you over here, like that. Cool. And then we're going to go and move on to shaping this little bit right here. Okay. Now, how this one works is we're going to get the shape first, and then we're going to attach the detail on. The reason for this is, if we went ahead and put this little bit of detail on, the tabs under here would actually get in the way of us shaping the whole thing properly. That little bit of metal will kind of stop the tool from getting that really nice, that little nice shape. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to grab our little forming tool, and one thing to know actually about this metal is that it's actually extremely easy to bend. A lot easier than you might think. So you don't have to put a whole lot of pressure on this to get it started, and to be totally honest, I don't want to use this tool here because I feel like it's too small. And so I need to find something that's an alternative to get this going. Well, you know what? Actually, I have my coffee cup here, and it's perfect. I did just finish up my coffee, so I'll take this guy right here, excuse the coffee mug, and what we're going to do is we're going to just press this guy in here, and I'm using all of my force to just try to get started. There we go. Okay, there we go. Just a nice start. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press a little bit more into it because, again, this tool isn't long enough. One thing I'm realizing is I do need to get some longer tools for some of these bigger models out there. So definitely might invest in some dowels, some wooden dowels, and try to make my own version of these. This is not going to end well if I keep doing this like this. I don't like it. Let me get, you know what? I'm going to use my my little bar here that I have that's holding my lights on my workbench. So excuse me while I break the wall here and go up. Whoopsie. And we press into the bar. That's a better one. Oh yeah. See? That looks way better now. Nice little even formation. Just got to hit the light a little bit and we're good, you know? All right, now I noticed here on my sides I got a little bit of a hot spot, so I'm just kind of coming down, and especially right here on these little guys, I'm gonna just press on them specifically, and especially on the edge there, and that's just gonna help again get that really nice curve look, and also help with the function. There we go, or not the function, but just the detail here. Okay, I think that's a good start. Let's go ahead and put that down. We can grab our brass fins here and place them on top. There we go. I'm still a shaky McGee here. Now, one thing I'm realizing is I do have to push this down just ever so slightly, and I'm going to have to bend this more, and I do know that. I'm just going to put a little bit more pressure on the sides like that. I'm going to grab the fins again. Whoops. And we're going to place them in place just like this. Now, one thing you might realize is that the tabs here might not line up on the front part or the back part, and the reason for that is that this piece right here needs to be bent either up or down. Bending it up will kind of move the tabs this way, bending it down will move the tabs this way. So as you can see right now, I need to bend this down a little bit more. So if I do this and then bring her back down, they get a little closer. I can also play with the edges just a little bit, or if I want to, I can actually take them off of the front tabs, place them on the back tabs first, and get them lined up, and then move on from there. Did I accidentally warp this piece eventually? Because it seems like this little guy here is not being my friend. Let me see. Bend you down. I'm also trying hard here not to accidentally scratch the metal. Taking my time here, working these guys in. A little harder than I expected. It seems like I almost want to... I'm surprised I'm hung up on this little spot here. Usually this little bit of detail isn't that bad. Also too, what I'm trying to do is kind of insert all of my tabs at the same time. The reason for this is sometimes if you put one side in on this side in first, the other side won't necessarily line up because it's kind of off its side, right? So we have to kind of find a balance between how far the tabs are kind of lined up and how far they go in, and how much each tab is actually doing that. So I love this song. It seems to always pop up at the best times. Okay, so what I'm going to do is cheat just a little bit here. I'm going to take my tabs and I'm going to just shift like that. I know that looks a little bit of a cheat, and I realize that, but it is what it is. So am I putting this on the right way too? Is that the problem? Because I might be putting it on the wrong way, and that's what it was. See, disorderly cone. Sometimes, oh my gosh. Yeah, it works fine. I was putting it on the wrong way. And I can guarantee there was some people that are going to be watching this later, and they're going to be laughing at how long that took me to do. But, again, I make mistakes. But the mistakes I make them so you don't have to. There we go. Just alternating the way I bend these tabs here. I'm actually going to use my tweezers. Or not. Let's take it here. The problem is, you see, you don't want to push on this edge here, because if you do that, you'll create a little crimp. So there's a little bit of a you have to kind of like start it and then push it in there to complete the actual bend and securement. Here's going to be a little interesting because we do have a door. I'm going to bend these two the same way, and then I'm going to bend that last one the opposite way here. Those two, just like this. Okay, cool. We get over to here. And we just do this last little push there. Boom. Awesome. Look at that. That looks great. Now, one other thing we need to do is we need to take these little tabs here on the side, and we need to bend them up, because we're going to have these little belts that get connected. And that's super important. Now again, I'm going to go right to the edge here, and I'm going to bend that up. Now, one thing I realized when I was doing this build originally is this one particular part can be a little bit tricky trying to get these belts done. And the reason for that is because it's super easy to actually bend a little tiny bit too much there. And I may have actually already bent too much, and we'll find out in a moment when it comes to actually putting the belts on. It can be a real pain in the butt, and that's because we need every little bit of metal to be able to make the belt, one, but also for it to be able to stretch all the way around the submarine. You'll see in a moment here what I'm talking about. It's a little bit of a stress, but we'll get through it together. Now here's these little belts that I was talking about, but we're going to actually just put these little fins on the back. They go right here. Suggestion for these little guys, when it comes to putting these little tiny bits of detail on the back, you want to make sure that you bend the tabs the opposite way. So make sure that one, that they are facing the same direction as your fins on top. But then also, when it comes to bending these tabs right here, grab as much of the tab in your pliers as possible, and then we're going to just secure that like that. And then we're going to take it this side here and go the opposite way with it. This way, the fin here, the more it's bent, or the more the tabs are bent, the more or less movement you're going to actually have, which is ideal. So there we go, and very little movement. Okay, very nice, very easy to do there. Let's grab the other one. Again, making sure that we are putting this on the proper way. Okay. Grab the little tab there. Bend her over like that. Yep. Take it. And then we're going to take this and just bend that slightly like that. That is epic. Awesome. Awesome, 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 awesome. Great. Okay. Now, let's take our little belts here. And these guys, I am going to be a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? More bend happy with them. I'm going to use my little mandrill here, or my dapping set, if you will. Because these ones, I think, will be able to make it around that tool. And if they're a little smaller, I can expand them. I might have to do a little bit more on that one too. Same thing like I said before, get down here, take that tab and just bend it. We'll see how difficult of a time we have here in a moment with these guys. There's one thing to know about these two little belts too, is that these belts actually have a cut, or one of them has a cut. So this one here doesn't have the cut. One of these should have a cut, yeah, right there. So that cut is important to know where it goes. That one's actually going to be facing this way and into our stand. So let's grab this guy right here, and I'm going to put this on top, just like so. Okay. And now I'm using this to kind of help me form the submarine, or help me form this piece on top here. Again, trying to be as careful as possible not to accidentally warp the submarine in any way, but also to make sure that I'm putting this brass top here properly on. And again, you're going to see why this can be a little bit difficult here in a minute. I definitely got a little bit of a hot spot there I didn't want to have. I might actually take this off in a second here and just... I didn't want to use this tool, but I'm going to. There we go. I don't want to get any more hot spots there, really. I really don't. I want to see this weekend, before I post these pictures of this being finished, I really want to go to the Ripley's Aquarium in Toronto and take the pictures inside the aquarium. I think those would be super cool, and with all the little nice lighting and things that they have in there, all the little different bits of detail lighting and things, I think it could be kind of cool to get some pictures with this Nautilus there. Also, I'm trying to work on some fun little skits that involve Toronto. I'm going to be moving soon. I might be moving further away from Toronto, so I figured I might be having a little bit of fun with the city before I leave. And because, you know, I've had a time machine on my show for so long, I think it'd be fun to kind of use that a little bit. Now, I know you're like, well, Disorderly Cone, you told me that this part here was going to be difficult. Well, guys, give me a moment here. The first one is not difficult. Not that bad, I shouldn't say. Shouldn't count my chickens before they hatch, right? Now, my plan here is just to bend these tabs a little bit. Nothing crazy, but something that's going to hold it. Now, like I said, the first one isn't hard. What becomes the hard part is actually securing the other side, because you see, when we come to bringing this here, see that gap? Yeah, we gotta somehow make that happen, right? And the way we make that happen is kind of by loosening off that connection over there. But I'm gonna see if I can kind of show you here. I'm hoping the camera can kind of focus. I'm streaming the camera too, so right here you can kind of hopefully see a little bit of a gap. Well, that little gap in the metal can cause a little bit of spacing over here. Also too, depending on how much of the metal is coming through on this button, that's also a big thing. Once you get both of them on each side, you can start really cranking it down, and that will help you form the brass a little bit better too. But what we're going to do is I'm going to try to see if I can get the back here with the other belt, and see if I can get both sides working for me in that regard, so that I'm working on opposites. Did that just fall out? It did. Okay. Let's see if I can get this here. Like this. Okay. Just trying to match this up here. There we go. Okay, just bang that like that. Now I'm going to try to do a little bit of a better job here. I know I'm going to have to work these tabs a little bit, so I don't want to bend them too much. The brass metal is obviously a softer metal than the steel that we're dealing with. So being careful is important. Now, I do have these guys kind of close. There we go. I'm pushing the belt together like that. This is where that third hand could come in handy. Okay, my plan here, my plan of attack is to get one side in and then take my pliers and push them together. Shoot a monkey. I'm in full concentration mode, my friends. Watch me struggle. Okay. What I'm trying to do is provide enough back pressure there for this to kind of get together without me kind of forcing them, right? Okay, here's an idea. What if I take the tab here, bend it slightly, bend that one slightly like that, then push them together. Can that get them to come together a little easier for me? What if I do one of these little maneuvers like that? Okay. Oh, snap. We did it, Groovers. Patience. Go back over to here. Flatten that out. There we go. Come back to the other side. Straighten this guy out a little bit. There we go. Flatten. Badass. Okay. One more belt to go, my friends. One more belt to go. And I'm super excited. I'm not going to lie. All right. Let's bend this like this. And just like before, where did that little key go? Oh, there it is. Okay. Now, we already know that these straps here are going to be a little harder because we saw how much of a difference of a gap there was. So I'm going to bring it down like that. It looks like I did bend a little bit of the ribbon instead of the tab. So that's something to know. I'm going to move that down now. It looks like I fixed it, so that should be a little easier. Keeping in mind that our little gap there goes towards those two little guys right there. Okay. Take this here, really press her down. There we go. Awesome. Flip her over here. What I'm trying to do is you can kind of see how on the bottom here, let me see if I can show you on the camera. You can see how those little tabs there are supposed to go right here. Now you can see how far away we are. So that's a problem. We're going to fix that though in a moment. I'm going to see if I can actually take this guy here and kind of work it up a little bit. Also kind of push down on this a little bit. There are some spots here on the top it has to get by. So like right there, for instance. Okay, let's list a little bar there. Just making sure that we are about as low as possible on every angle. Did I lose my front piece? Okay, that's just fine. I'm going to try to push right here. There we go. Excellent. Okay. Now, if I put this right in the middle, where it's supposed to be, how far away am I on both sides? I'm just pushing the tabs together on equally. Well, I'm pushing as much as I can on either side to see what my variance is. Now I'm holding in place. It doesn't actually look that bad. It actually looks pretty lined up now. I think by going at the top there and kind of pushing everything down, we kind of did a better of an alignment there. There we go. Cool. Flip her around there. Awesome. I do hope everyone's been having a good day today. It's been really nice and sunny. I got out with my little pupperoonie there earlier. If you guys are on my Instagram, you can go over there and see little girl in all her majesty as we walk around. She's now 4 years old. If you guys remember, I actually posted the day that I got her, or one of the days that I got her. I posted a picture of her, and in one of my videos, you actually can see her as a puppy. Now, I love dogs. I've always been a big dog person, and I love training dogs. So she's actually my first like really strong breed, I guess. I've had a beagle, which was my first dog, one of my first dogs, and I've also had a Rottweiler lab mix, which was a great dog, super friendly dog, amazing puppy. And now I have old Lykaloo here, who is 100% an American Bulldog. And, you know, she's a great dog, honestly. What an amazing dog, listens incredibly well. But it's always about, when I see people online talking about strong breeds and stuff and the dangers of them and things, you know, like it really comes down to training, and it really comes down to being able to train people how to properly, you know, own these dogs. When you have a strong breed, just like when you have a strong truck or anything else like this, you have to learn how to use them. And if you don't know how to, you know, treat these things, they tend to get out of hand. Anyway, my friends, we have just completed the Metal Time Elusive Nautilus. This looks amazing, doesn't it? I mean, like, look at this thing. I mean, I'm just going to actually see if I can kind of straighten out some of that detail there like that. But yeah, look at that. Doesn't that look cool? Like, it's really neat. This thing is just so, it's so detailed, and especially being able to see the gears in here as well, it really does look nice. Now, let's go ahead and just kind of wind this up a little bit to see if we screwed up our little mechanism when we were putting that brass in there. It doesn't look like we did. All I'm doing here is winding it up, winding it up, winding it up, winding up. That feels pretty good, so I'm going to do that, and now I'm going to place her here, and we're going to watch her just for a second here. Actually, you know what? I'll do it just like this so you can see the entire movement. Let's see it together, why don't we? Oop. Did I go the wrong way? No, I didn't. Oh, maybe I need to wind it up a little bit more. It's my first time actually like trying to put the actual model to its through its real paces here. So let's see. That feels pretty wound to me now. Oh, we're getting caught. There we go. I think that looks really great. Let's see if we can just keep it going. It looks like if I keep it straight here too, how does that work? You can still see that there's a little bit of a catch there. It might be, it's still probably this little guy here on the back, but I'm really impressed by this, to be totally honest with you. This is a great little model, especially when it comes to how it works. I mean, I wonder if I can get this thing to like really fly though. I mean, that feels like it's unwound now. Let me just kind of crank her up again here. I also don't want to break it by any chance before I do the big reveal on the video, which would be really funny. It's like, well, everyone's seeing it work right now, though, and I have plenty of footage of it going. I'm just kidding. These models are actually very well engineered, and you don't normally have to worry about that. It really comes down to how you build the model. Now, I think here on the back, there's supposed to be like a little lever here that I can actually move, I think. We'll see. Anyway. That is so cool. I love it. I love how fast it moves too. There's definitely a little bit of drag there, and it feels like it's coming right there on the tail. And it is. It's right there. That same little place. And I guarantee you it's that eyelet. So one thing we've learned from this build, which is super, super important, is that when it comes to putting this build together, ensuring that that little eyelet that we talked about yesterday, which I'll revisit here on the paper, we are, my friends, finished up with this build. I didn't change this. I got to get better at changing the instructions. That is my bad. Let me take a little look here and see if we can learn something that we didn't learn from before. So to launch the sub, hold the gear with your fingers, sorry, and turn the bow clockwise. Turn the bow clockwise. Wow, I can't read today, guys. Then release the gear. So again, that gear in the back is what I was talking about before. So let me see. So if I hold this gear and wind it, that doesn't feel right. Oh, because I can hear. That's right, because it's supposed to click. Oh, ho, 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 ho. That's right. That's right. So I wonder if my gear in here is a little too tight. So if I take this thing here, I should hear little clicks. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I don't want to break this. Ooh, that feels really good though. Like, you see how much more torque that has? I wonder if I gotta work it in. That's so neat. I love this thing. This is great. This is gonna become like one of my favorite models, for sure. Just, I love the way it moves. Metal Time also has a astronaut lounge, which is the it's like the what's it called, the International Space Station. That one looks really, really cool. It looks massive though too, and so that's a thing. Okay. Huh. Now I'll try one more time to hold the gear, because it is supposed to have that click like that. There we go. So I just had to work it in. I'm just really I'm really worried about breaking this model, not because of anything other than just like I have my own anxieties. So whoa, okay. Oh, awesome. Oh, that's so cool. All right. That's so epic. Look at this. This is so neat. That is so neat. I love it. I absolutely love it. This is a great little kit. You know, this is a great kit for those people out there that are looking for something a little bit more challenging. If you want to challenge your build, if you think that you've gotten the mastery of like metal models, if you think that you've rocked the world of metal models and you're thinking, hey man, I've taken on, you know, the Mandalorian, I've taken on Deadpool, I've done Iron Man, I've done all these really cool ones. If you want something to challenge yourself with, these ones are a great build, because again, it's not about the engineering. The engineering in this model is fantastic. I mean, this thing works fantastically if you bend it to the instructions. Just like any puzzle or just like any other model, if we don't do the right thing, we can't expect it to actually work or do the thing it's supposed to do. In this particular case, that one little piece that we spoke about earlier, and I will go back on here because I don't have it on the instructions on the computer at the moment, so I will reference the little guide here. For the record, when I was talking about the clicking, this is the area right here that I'm speaking about. You see these little guys right here? These little guys are, I'm going to put it right here in the center. These little guys right here have to be bent properly. And I cannot overstate this. This is so important. You can see how these ones are done. You can see the orientation of them. is incredibly important to make sure that these little eyelets here are 100% bent the right way. You don't want to bend too much of it. You just want to bend a little bit, and you can see how they've illustrated that there. But that is super, super important because this is how the whole thing's going to work with that little gear assembly and the cassette inside. These little pieces right here actually grab that little gear, and that little click that you were hearing when I'm cranking it is this little piece skipping around on that gear, and then when we let go of it, it actually locks that gear into place and drives the whole mechanism. So if this piece isn't done correctly, if you don't use the proper part, and again, they look the same, but they aren't, so it's super important to make sure you use the proper one in the proper spot. This will not work correctly. So again, super, super important to know about that. That one other piece I keep referencing is that eyelet. Let me see if I can find that little piece. Here it is. So on the outer shell of our submarine here, we can see that this right here, let me just kind of hold this a little better. There we go. This right here is our actual like mechanism. This is the cassette, so there's our power. This is where all the power in the submarine comes from. Then it drives these gears. So there's a gear right here, which then turns, and then it turns this gear, which then turns this gear, which turns this gear. So there's about four, I believe there's four, I do believe, maybe three. 1, 2, 3, yeah, and the connections are on top. So there's a connection right here, and right here. These connections right here are super important. If they're off, if you see that your gears are in the wrong direction, just make sure you flip them around before you go any further. But this little eyelet right here, you see how straight that is? That's incredibly important. I can't overstate this. My first one that I built, I think the issue that I had was I didn't have this right here straight. And it sounds like such a silly little thing, but I think what happens is when I put the, when we go and we place the, let me reference yesterday's build here, because everything was working great yesterday until we got to a certain point and we had to work through it. And it's when you go put the tail section in, which is right here. Yes. Okay, so when we put the tail section in right here, this little gear gets caught extremely easy. And this little spot right here, this is like a little brace, if you will, or a part of the outer exterior of the model, or sorry, the outer, so it's a hull support, thank you. So anyway, this right here is our little support. When that goes in, I actually recommend putting this in first and then placing this, because this little guy right here, if it gets bent out of shape from that 90-degree angle at all, this whole thing doesn't work very well. You have to make sure that that little tiny eyelet is 100% straight. If it's not, if it's warped at all, you're going to have an issue. And that's something that we've learned. And I think that that is the big thing to take away from the Metal Time Elusive Nautilus. Guys, I had an extremely good time building this model. This is definitely by far probably one of my favorite models we've actually built here on the channel so far. Definitely up there with the piranha or the anglerfish. That's actually one of my favorites as well. The ISS is another one of my favorites. I think this is a great build. I think that this is something, again, you definitely want to check out if you're interested in challenging yourself a little bit more, and also supporting an awesome company that really loves its people, loves the industry itself. And if you guys want to support the Ukraine right now and do the whole hashtag Create Ukraine, this is definitely a build you want to check out, because these guys, again, have some really awesome kits. All of their kits are available at groovebuilders.ca, and I'm going to have some promotions coming out here soon, so make sure you keep your eyes out for those. Groovers, again, I had a great time building with you, and if you guys have any questions, if I didn't cover something here today or anything like that, do me a favor, leave a little comment down below. I'll do my best to answer any of those questions that come up. And if you're going to be joining us here in the future, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button as well. So we got all kinds of cool stuff, and I would love to have you here. If you enjoyed the video, press like as well, because that's how I know if you actually enjoyed it or not. And until next time, Groovers, keep building.